Good evening. I'm going to give it another minute to see if we can get some more students in here. So just bear with me for a moment before we get going. All right. Good evening. I am Professor Liz McCullum, and I am glad you're here. We are going to take about 25 minutes to kind of go through course expectations for Intro to Psychology, show you around our online classroom, and I will give you my whole spiel of how you can get an A in this class. So I'm going to start off with my little presentation. I am not recording this, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, or if you prefer to use the chat, I'm going to keep an eye on that as well. I will share this slideshow under an announcement and make sure everybody has a refresher of how to find everything and navigate our Blackboard course. So, first off, let me start by saying this is an online asynchronous class. What that means is we do not have meeting times. This is the only meeting I typically host, unless something comes up or there's a lot of questions, and then I will create another optional Zoom for you guys to join. But this type of course is pretty self-led, with the expectation that you will meet the deadlines that are set out and follow along each week as we explore different topics. So, um, starting with coursework. Every week, you are expected to start by completing the assigned readings, any supplemental articles or videos that I share you are going to want to watch. And do that in preparation to create your discussion post. Every week, you'll have a discussion board that will be reflective of one of the concepts we're learning. And so that initial post should be uploaded by the end of Thursday. And then you can come back to the discussion board on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to interact with one of your peers. You're going to want to, kind of scroll through the different posts that your classmates have shared and find one that's interesting to you. And maybe it's interesting because you have a similar point of view or you have a very different experience that you want to interact on. So those will happen every week. Now, every Sunday, you will have, oh, sorry, one more thing. When at the end of Sunday, the discussion boards automatically close at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So if you did not make your post or if you did not make your peer response, you will no longer have the opportunity to do so. And I'm very strict about those deadlines because you're expected to engage and own your own post, right? So if somebody comments on your discussion post and they ask you a question, right? You should respond to them. It's courteous. But you don't want to be 2 or 3 weeks down the line and have somebody commenting on your post from week one, and then you've got to go back and address it, etc. It becomes rather troublesome. So these boards close automatically every Sunday night. And if you missed it, you missed it. So it is a smaller portion of your grade, but it does help um, you solidify the concepts every week. Um, what else? Okay, yeah. Oh, the other reason is we move on to new topics each week, and especially in an accelerated course like this, you're getting 16 weeks of a semester condensed down into 8 weeks. So we don't want to be backtracking, with old discussions. When it comes to assignments, every week on top of that discussion post, you will have either a reflection, written reflection, or a milestone. And those will be due Sunday night. I do expect you to cite your sources when you define things or discuss theories or concepts, right? Tell me where you got your information from. And I'm going to walk you through all that, so it should not be scary. All of the discussions, reflections, and milestones help you prepare for your final project. It is called the Applications of Psychology slideshow. And what I ask my Intro to Psych students to do is to look at three different ways, three different things you've learned in this class that can help you become a better student. Three different things, concepts, theories you've learned in this class that can help you in your future career. And three different concepts or theories that you've learned that can help you in your personal life. So there are many different ways to apply what you're about to learn in psychology. You're going to learn everything from why we need sleep, to how you can improve your memory, to different learning theories and theories of motivation and, emotional regulation. You're going to learn a ton of cool stuff, in my opinion. So that final milestone project, it's a presentation that you will need to record. So you're going to record, your voice recording is just fine. You don't need to be on screen if you don't like that, but you'll record your presentation and upload that before the class closes. We have a very strict deadline of Thursday, July 30th. That is our last day of this course because I have to have all of your grades submitted by Monday. So I cannot take any late projects. I'm going to be feverishly grading your final projects before that Monday deadline. So that is what you're expected to do in this class. There was some confusion with the textbook, and we will talk about that. I do not use the Revel assignments or quizzes in the textbook for a grade. If you want to go through that material or access it, that's on you. I use the textbook for reading. So you don't have any textbook assignments from me. I did say you have a couple milestone assignments, and that's because they're a little more in depth than a quick written reflection. They are going to happen in weeks 3 and 5. And the first one is coming up on June 28th. You will create a learning theories handbook. So that week we are focusing on operant conditioning, classical conditioning, and learning by observation. So you are going to create like a little guide or handbook explaining those different theories, defining them, giving examples. And it would be something that if you handed it to the next class coming in, to a new psych student, that they would understand what those theories are. It should be clear enough that if you handed it to your grandma and she's never studied psychology before, she would understand what learning theories are. Milestone 2 is due July 19th, and that is a coping toolbox. And in that week, we are learning about emotions and motivation. So you are going to create a fictional, or you could do it in real life if you wanted to, toolbox of things that would help motivate you or help soothe you if you are stressed out and anxious. So those two things are a little bit more creative. I hope you can have a little bit more fun with them than just writing a discussion post or a reflection. As I said, your final project is the Applications of Psychology slideshow. I have tutorials built into Blackboard for you, and I also have samples. And I'm happy to meet with you on Zoom and share some previous students' work. I just cannot upload that publicly. So if that is something you would like to see, we can certainly make those arrangements. Um, what else? So those are all the different ways I'm going to be able to assess your learning in this class. How do you succeed in here? Check Blackboard often. I say daily, but often. I would be up on this app at least 5 times during the week, right? Check your student email to see if you got an announcement or an email from me or any of your professors, right? Another thing, I highly suggest using spell check. I tell students when you go to make a discussion post, I have always done this to safeguard myself, but I would write it in Word, a Word doc or a Google Doc. And then once I have it polished up and ready, I would paste it into the discussion board and then post. Why? Because internet. Because sometimes you get a power surge and you do not want 250 words of your thoughts and things to be lost. So I would strongly suggest, and that way you have all of your work documented for later reference. So you can use the Grammarly extension to help you polish your writing, but we will definitely want that writing to be our own thoughts and not that of Grammarly or AI. So you're going to need to cite your sources in APA format, but I have a ton of resources I'll show you in Blackboard to help you with this. Part of any course is more than just learning the material, but it is refining you as a student. So we are going to become better writers during this class. All right, this is the breakdown of what's expected throughout the course, how many discussions you have, how many points everything is, and like you see, your final project is worth 20% of your grade, so you definitely do not want to miss the deadline. You want to make sure you get that in, so you don't, lose out on 20% of your potential grade. All right, so as far as assignments go, reflections, milestones, right? The Dropbox is open on everything right now. If you wanted to work ahead, you're welcome to, as long as you're, consuming all the necessary chapters and materials. Please feel free to get ahead if you'd like. But for example, you have a reflection due this Sunday, June 14th. Say you had a busy weekend, you had to work an extra shift, you didn't get around to turning that in. That's fine. You have all the way through till June 21st to turn that into the Dropbox with just a 10% late penalty. 10%. That means if your paper was an A, you were going to get 100. Now you get a 90%, which is still an A. So if you just need a couple extra days just because, that's totally up to you. If you are sick, if there has been some kind of extenuating circumstance, injury, whatever, I expect you to communicate with me so I can work out a plan to keep you on track, and I can waive those late penalties under those kinds of circumstances. So, but if you don't get that assignment turned in by that extra 7 days, the Dropbox does close and it will not be available. So again, if you don't turn it in, if the thing was due on the 14th and now it's late, and you went all the way through the 21st and didn't turn it in, you can't turn it in on the 22nd. It's just gone now. So, this is an accelerated course. So we do have strict timelines. Um, and again, the discussion boards will close at the end of every Sunday. They close automatically. So I don't go back in and like, oh, I'll open it up because you missed one. We can have a conversation if that happens. But that's the way it is. All right. Participation. Because we don't get to meet in person, because I don't get to teach you face to face, participating in the discussion boards is going to be the best way to understand the different topics we're covering and share your perspective and learn from other people's perspectives. Okay. Sometimes you'll be writing about something and you don't feel very confident about it, and then you post it and you kind of scroll through and see what your peers wrote, and you go, oh, okay, I did well. That makes sense. I'm on the right track. Or maybe you see somebody explain something a little bit better than how you understood it. So, meaningful replies and online conversation in the discussion board is really helpful in a class like this. Incorporating feedback. You guys work hard on your assignments. I know you all do. Whether it's a discussion post, a reflection, a milestone, or that final project, I read everything you write. Okay. I thoughtfully grade your work. So I need you to read my feedback when, even if you got an A, right? You want to see if I gave you a compliment on your work, or if I said, hey, I didn't take any points off this time, but maybe need to address this thing for next time, right? I give you an opportunity to do better next time. So please read my feedback and let it help you become a better student. Uh, on the other hand, grading is very subjective. Even though I grade you based on a rubric and hopefully very clearly what the expectations are because I give you clear directions, sometimes you might feel like your grade was not fair, and that's okay. We can have a conversation about that. Grading is subjective, meaning what I think is a B plus, another professor might think is a C plus. Okay, maybe they have stricter policies than I do, or whatever. What I think is a B, someone else might think is an A. Doesn't happen a lot, but if it is something you truly feel like you were not fairly graded, um, or maybe you missed the mark and didn't understand what I was asking of you in a reflection or milestone, um, I can give you an opportunity to resubmit it. Or I can have another colleague grade your assignment if you didn't feel like I graded you fairly. We can have a conversation about that. But that happens on a case by case basis. So read your feedback, make sure everything looks good on your end. And if there's any issues, I just want you to reach out to me. One thing I have to be very stern on in this course is making sure your work is original. Okay. Because I don't get to see you guys and interact with you in a classroom, the only way I can gauge what you've learned in here is through your writing. So that means your writing, anything you submit on a discussion board, a reflection, a milestone, or a final has to be authentically and originally yours. I want to hear your interpretations and your thoughts and your personal reflections on the things we're talking about. So your stuff does get scanned through Turnitin. If it looks like it's AI and you're getting like a high AI content score, I will look into it. I will run it through a couple other systems I have, and then I'll have a conversation with you because we are going to abide by Morton's academic honesty policy. We don't plagiarize, we don't use AI generated content and call it our own. It's just not conducive to me being able to grade your work in this course. Now, I will say this on a personal note, I think AI has a lot of value. I think it can help with brainstorming. I think it can help with creating an outline or giving you an example. But I want to hear your interpretations of things, right? Even if it's not as polished as AI would say it, at least it's yours, okay? Um, so that's my spiel about that. Last but not least, communication. We are moving quickly through 8 weeks. Okay. I know this is a summer course, which bravo for you guys to be taking on an accelerated class over the summer. If anything should come up, if you are struggling with the material or you're having some personal struggles that are keeping you from investing in this class, I need you to talk to me, and the sooner the better, right? You can reach out to me through phone or text. You can email me anytime. You can come into my open office hours on this Zoom channel, Thursdays between 10 a.m. and noon. Or I also share a Calendly link where you can see all the dates available and times available that I can meet with you one-on-one. All right. I don't want you to get behind and then say, ugh, I can't get caught up anyway. I'm just going to throw in the towel. Okay. Um, it is possible to work through difficult circumstances. I would definitely like to hear from you if you're struggling so we can work out a game plan so you can still succeed in this course. All right. But I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. So you have to talk to me. Life happens to me too during these classes. This time last year, I was in week 2 of a course and my appendix burst. So I know life happens, but we can work together and make sure it doesn't negatively impact your grade in this course. Now, let's take a quick look at your Blackboard. This is our online classroom here. So a couple quick notes. You want to read your course textbook here. If I click on this now, it won't let me in because I'm in student preview. But your course textbook is here just for reading, nothing else. The syllabus can be found here with all of the policies and information. I just gave you all neatly in one place, as well as, how many points do I need for an A, right? You need 450 points for an A. So maybe that should be your goal. But everything you need is here if you have questions throughout the term. Before you reach out to me, you probably already have the answer. I do like to break out the course schedule by itself. So this is a nice visual for you. You can print it if you want. This is the course schedule broken down by weeks. So you can see what's due every week and what you have coming up. So you can see we go from June 8th to July 30th. Everything is kind of built in here. So if you're taking a vacation around, the beginning of July or, end of June, you know what is expected and you can hopefully get ahead of it. The APA writing tools. This tab is really helpful. I have a sample assignment here. This is what a reflection paper should look like. You can download this if you'd like and use it as a template. So your information would go here on your title page. Your assignment would be here with in-text citations to support any definitions. And then your reference page would be reflective of the in-text citations that you used. Okay, so this is a good visual. Make sure your paper looks like the sample paper. I also have a PowerPoint that walks through what APA format is, why we use it. It kind of tells you where some citations are. Here's what proper citations look like. Here's some different examples, all of that. So that is there for your reference. And then this is a link to the Purdue Online Writing Lab or the Purdue OWL. There is a plethora of information there for you, as well as many more samples and a citation generator. If you find something that you want to use as a reference, you can generate the citation there. So as you see, we have 8 modules for the 8 weeks we're here. Module 1, you're going to want to start by reading you can go through the slides. You can go through, it tells you read the chapter 1 and 2 of your textbook. This is the proper way to cite your textbook. So if you are going to cite your source in your writing, you can put this on your reference page. And I always have a couple extra things in there for you. So you want to go over scientific method, what is biological psychology. Here's a quick little 4-minute video. So these are just additional things to help support your learning. You can reference the slides as well. And they are built in. If you're going to reference the slides, like you read something on the slides, you can just cite your textbook because they are literally taken directly from your textbook. Here is your first topic, psychology as a science of critical thinking. So what you're going to do is you're going to read through these and go ahead and answer them in paragraph format. I don't want to see you answering them like a worksheet with bullet points or numbers, right? Just respond naturally as if someone was asking you in a conversation these questions. Okay. Your initial post is due by the 11th, which is Thursday. And then the one peer reply is due by Sunday, the 14th. So if you notice, you can't see what anybody else has posted yet. There is a must post first policy, which means you have to create your post and submit it before you get to see everyone else's. Um, and your reflection this week. Your reflection this week is focusing on understanding biology of your brain and your behavior. So you're going to talk about a little bit about perception, what kind of biological factors could contribute to how you were feeling a little off, I guess. You can talk about neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, things like that. I'm not asking you in these reflections to provide a self-diagnosis. What I'm asking you to do is do the reading and look at the concepts and see how they apply to you. Okay. So, tell me about your experience with something, right? How could how did sleep, social support, food, or rest make a difference in making you feel better after, you had felt off? Okay. I do want you to use specific psychological concepts and terms in your paper. It's not just an opinion piece. You're taking what you've learned, applying it to a personal situation, and writing an academic response to it. There is the grading rubric built in, but I do give you, very specific directions on each one of these. I do ask that these reflections are about 300 to 400 words. So that's basically like 2 discussion posts. Um, so it should be one full page of writing. And then your title page and reference page are kind of like the front and back book covers, right? They don't count towards the um, content, but they do have to be there. All right. Let me show you real quick down here. Here's one of your milestones. Why do I not have? Hmm. Um, I also have, okay, so here's your milestone for um, Module 6, designing a coping toolbox. Let me exit this preview real quick. I do have samples. I guess I just didn't post it yet. Here we go. So with the coping toolbox, you're going to make a visual, right? This would be my coping toolbox. I would have, something I could smell in there. That would be cinnamon sticks. And then I'm going to explain why I would use cinnamon sticks, why that's a comforting scent to me. I'm going to cite my source of, research on the field of aromatherapy. Um, so when I'm not trying to overwhelm you with a lot of information here, but showing you that I do provide you samples for each of the milestones as we progress through the course. I also have one for, this is the one for, um, oh, I guess I didn't put it out there yet. I do need to fine tune this one. Oh, here. A learning theories handbook should look something like this. Um, we look through as creative as you want it to be. I just used Canva to kind of map out what my learning theories handbook would look like and give you guys an idea of what you could do with it. So, I give you a lot of examples. I give you a lot of tools. I give you a lot of support. I even throw extra credit in there. So look around because there is extra credit opportunities already built into the class, which are optional, but a good option to have. And that is it. That is my spiel. I've walked you through the course. I've walked you through how you could succeed. I've kind of shown you around. So now I'm going to stop the recording and feel free to ask me any questions that you might have.